Hey, welcome to episode 45 of the Rebel podcast. I'm your host, Michael Dargy. In this episode, comedian Victoria Banner joins me to talk about being a stand-up comedian, musician, and actor, as well as the fine art of burning out and how to work through mental health challenges. Laughs, great advice, and humble truths. Victoria is smart, quick, and a ton of fun. Thank you to our sponsors, Make More Creative, for the dope recording and production studio, and of course the Friday Sock Company for making every day feel like a Friday and supplying our guests with their fun, purposefully mismatched socks. Hey, did you know that you could support the show too? Head on over to patreon.com/rebelrebelpod and become a Rebel supporter. Please welcome creative rebel Victoria Banner to the show. Okay, well, we are here in deep in the Northwest. Not really deep in the Northwest. Sort of in the middle
central.
of the Northwest.
Very nice.
Kensington Studio. We're in the community cottage, which is what this place is called. And I'm sitting across the living room from Victoria Banner.
Hey guys, how's it going?
They're like, what? Victoria Banner, no way.
Oh, perfect. I love imaginary crowds. They're my favorite. They're so supportive.
Yay! Victoria, why don't you tell the listeners what it is? Who are you? What do you do?
Okay, cool. My name is Victoria, and I am a stand-up comedian, and I've been a touring stand-up comedian for probably about 6 years at this point.
Wow.
And I really do keep it to like purely stand-up, and then I just have a million other hobbies.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Oh man, 2 years ago I started playing guitar, and 4 years ago I started downhill longboarding.
What?
And
so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And what else do I like to do? I guess I like to paint, and I did do improv at Loose Moose as well. That's where I started when I was 16.
Yeah, good place to start.
And then for no apparent reason, I love that techie stuff. So I also have a home studio and photography, Photoshop. So, you know, the artistic gauntlet.
That's outstanding. Do you have a sock collection?
No sock collection yet.
What?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, our sponsor, Friday Sock Co., would actually like to give you a pair of socks for being a guest on our show today.
Amazing. What an amazing high quality pair of socks that are purposely mismatched from Friday Sock Co. They will go with all of my outfits in my creative lifestyle.
Wow, nicely done. Right out of the bat. So those are like little mouse and cheese socks.
Oh, my cats will love them.
I know, right? That's kind of what I was figuring. But yeah, so they're a new sponsor for us, and it's kind of cool because I get to give stuff away.
That's a great sponsor. That's a super good sponsor.
Yeah, they're wild.
Much better than like a sponsor that's like a mortgage broker, because you can't give mortgages away to your guests.
Hey, welcome. Here's your new mortgage. No. You are now in debt for the rest of your life. No. Your kids are going to be in debt. No. Why do I come on this podcast? So, all right. So you're a touring professional stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
I saw you for the first time up in Airdrie. At a crazy show at Tap House or Tap Room.
Yeah, produced by the wonderful Barry Piercy. He's hit the stand-up scene running.
Oh man,
yeah,
and he's been working at it. Like,
yeah, no, he has a sense. He's got a sense, and I really enjoy that. And I think that was why I was on Barry's show.
Yeah,
was because he went from being like that new guy, awkward guy, and stand-ups are so standoffish. And so when you're new and you're sucking and you're making all the other comedians cringe into oblivion, they're mean and you get stonewalled. And it was so Barry was able to shed off that new guy persona to I'm a member of your scene in probably the getting into savant territory.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, and I've never seen anybody work harder at a thing. Mm-hmm. Right? And I think, and I want to talk about you, not about Barry, but I will say, just a plug to Loose Moose, you know, he comes from Loose Moose as well. Mm-hmm. And you learn to fail gracefully on that stage, right? So he took his lumps as he was learning to be like, okay, you know what? Fine. I'm going to suck. I'm going to do this dolphin joke that's going to fall flat and nobody laughs for my entire set. I'm just going to shrug it off, rework the joke, come back at it. So
absolutely. I think Loose Moose taught me my favorite thing ever, because I did Loose Moose when I was 16 as well, which was Muppet arms. And when you fail and bomb a joke,
right.
You know, in the Muppet Show when Kermit throws his arms in the air and Jim Henson like flaps his arms.
Yeah.
If you just imagine Kermit flapping his arms madly after you bomb a joke, you can kind of give enough of a emotional beat for everyone to not judge you super harshly. So just imagine Kermit going crazy for you. And that's usually perfect. A good way to like walk off the shame.
Nice. Well, so let's use that as a clever jumping off point, because like, I love creative rebels. Like, I love them. I think that people that do things differently are what makes the world an interesting place to be. It helps, I think, make sense of the world. And so you as a stand-up comedian, and I know just a little bit of the story, that you were in Vancouver a couple of years ago. You ended up getting blacklisted, the burnout, blacklisted, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? And then you're back in the scene. So I'm like, it's a phoenix from the ashes.
Yeah, that's kind of a fun story. I didn't get like fully blacklisted, which is like, I don't know where that word, because like, I don't know if you were chatting with someone else about me, like Spencer or Rob or something, or if I wrote the word.
No,
blacklisted.
you wrote the word.
No, did I?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, perfect.
And I was just like, what does this mean?
Oh man, well, it's kind of starts from a long thing where I've been kicked out of a lot of groups my whole life, and so we're gonna do a little life story thing, which
cool.
is called Victoria is not good in groups. And I love people and I love helping.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you love something a little bit too much, you're like that one Looney Tunes character who's like, I'll love you and squish you and squeeze you. And then you end up killing everything that you love by having too many emotions. Mm-hmm. And so I guess it started when I was in like school. I was never able to be in the group of friends. And then I found marching band, and that was like the first scene that I ever was in. And I was like, I love marching band. This is the greatest thing. My entire identity is a French horn player.
That's so punk rock.
I'm going to speak from my entire identity as being a musician, as a band nerd. And I thought I was very in the group, right?
Yeah.
And when it came time to move to Stampede Show Band, everybody got into Stampede Show Band except for me.
No.
And when I say that everybody did, I mean everybody did except for me.
No.
And I internalized like, oh, maybe I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
But in that same year, I'd made National Concert Band of Canada.
Oh my God.
Which was a band in Ottawa. Everyone submitted their best instrument player, and then you all got to perform at the National Performance Center in Ottawa. So to have the members of Stampede Show Band being like, well, we can't possibly let you in our group because you're not good enough of a musician.
Wow.
And then to have the government of Canada being like, you're the best in Canada. You're the best 16-year-old in Canada.
Holy moly.
That kind of gave me that hint that maybe I don't fit into groups very well.
Wow.
So I rage quit music for the longest time. Like I only started playing guitar again 2 years ago, but I like love music. Rage quit music because I'm like, you guys don't want me, I don't want you. Boo!
Right.
And I moved right on to theater, and that's when I started going to Loose Moose.
Yeah.
So I moved right to theater, and then I also started working at like dinner theater, the Jubilations dinner theater.
Yeah, okay.
And I loved that because I could be funny and I could joke, and I worked there from when I was 16 till I was 21, and my only dream was to be a touring dinner theater actor.
Wow.
The high life, right?
Lofty goals.
And lofty goals. And I auditioned, and I got a call back in the parking lot. Like, I wasn't even to my car.
Wow.
Before they were like, that was amazing. You're in. Get ready for this tour. And I was like, yes, my entire identity is an actor. I'm going to be an actor. This is the best thing ever. And
hug it and hold it and call it George.
Yeah, I hold it, love. I am an actor. And I got to Winnipeg, and I got in the cast, and I got fired on dress rehearsal.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I couldn't fit into the group.
Oh my God.
I was dealing with like jealousy. There was like an understudy that she wanted my job so bad, and she just had that little voice in the director's ear.
Man.
And so it was again that kind of like, it wasn't a you're not talented thing. It was a you are not allowed in the group situation. Because I went from being called back in the parking lot to fired on dress rehearsal.
Crazy.
So I rage quit that.
Yeah.
And that's when I started doing stand-up comedy. And funny enough, it's a pattern that's followed me my entire life.
Huh.
I hit stand-up comedy, and the big thing is the first time that you try stand-up, you are supposed to bomb just the hardest you've ever. It is a blow to your ego because you think you're funny, but you realize how much people are just being polite to you when you make a joke, and then you leave your mouth kind of half open, and then you stare at them until they're laughing. My mouth is open, you're laughing, right?
Yeah. And
so stand-up kind of wipes that slate clean, and you all of a sudden have to relearn how to be truly funny and not just socially big dogging people at all time. But the thing was when I started stand-up at Broken City at Comedy Monday Night, shout out to Comedy Monday Night. If anyone wants to start stand-up, you should go to Broken City, Comedy Monday Night, send an email to James Moore ahead of time, and then you get to go up, and it is the most pillowy soft cushion you could possibly plunge headfirst into stand-up comedy on.
Yeah, it's a good room.
It's a very good room. It's one of the best in Canada. So to get your first time on one of the best rooms in Canada in such a supportive environment is a really great way to start.
That's cool.
So, so I started there, and I was kind of good out of the gates because I had stage chops from improv and I had stage chops from acting. So I didn't bomb the same way. Like, obviously my act wasn't funny, but I didn't let it get to me. Like, I didn't show that shame.
Yeah.
So I got off the stage and a whole bunch of comedians were there. I feel the scene was a lot stronger with headliners about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Because Comedy Now had just ended.
Oh, okay.
And that was an hour-long TV show on CBC.
Yeah.
So you had a very clear marker of who was and wasn't a headliner.
Yeah.
Because headliners had an hour special that was airing regularly on cable television.
Yeah.
And now that's just gone the way of the wind and Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's whoever can convince you they're a stand-up comedian the most.
Right.
But so it was an incredible feeling because I did well. And then all of a sudden, all the people that I'd seen on TV were telling me, wow, you're really good at this. And I got quite a big boost from a lot of very professional comedians that I looked up to a lot.
Yeah.
And that kind of ticked off that kind of jealousy, you're not a part of the group thing.
No.
And so, but I still kind of wanted to participate. And I didn't think I was that good was the big thing. I was like, I still to this day, like, I don't think I am a headlining comedian.
Right.
Can I do an hour? Yes. Do I think I should do an hour? Not a chance.
Yeah. Well, there's wisdom in, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And I think it's got to be like when you feel comfortable, when you think that you're at that spot, or maybe just before when somebody goes, hey, you know what? You might not think that you're quite ready, but you're going to do it anyways.
Yeah. So I have a level of quality for myself, and the level of quality that I have is pretty high. And so I tell people that I cap out at half an hour because I want the show to be like the best thing that they've ever seen.
Nice.
And I know that I can keep up with the best thing they've ever seen for half an hour. And for an hour, it gets a little stretchy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was very humble about starting, and I was very open and willing to learn. And in that self-doubt and in that being willing to say, hey, I'm not the best, a lot of people that were jealous of the attention I was receiving from the industry exploited that you're not the best kind of thing. And there was just such a rumor of, oh, Victoria doesn't write jokes. And that was the thing to combat my stage energy. That was getting me a lot of positive compliments was, oh, Victoria's not actually funny. She just has stage energy. And a lot of people that do not do comedy today, that was the thing that they used to comfort themselves.
Wow.
And I internalized that hard.
Really?
So, So in the past, or like now I can see that people might have been a little bit wishing that they had stage energy, and I know that I could have been writing better at the time. Right.
Yeah, and what a balance, right? Like to allow yourself to use that energy on stage, which is huge, because that's a whole nother level of confidence, and then to have the joke writing, not just the delivery but the writing to back it up as well. So finding that mix has got to be. It's a juggling act, I suppose.
And to their credit and to their cognitive dissonance, I do have an off-style way of delivering comedy. I am not a joke writer in the way that Dimitri Martin or Mitch Hedberg is a joke writer.
Yeah.
I don't, when I perform stand-up comedy, I can't do the feigning, I can't feign ignorance is the big thing. So when you have a joke where that's a traditional form joke where someone's like, I wonder if there's any jelly in a jellyfish.
Right.
I don't wonder if there's jelly in a jellyfish, so I can't set up premises that aren't real.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm much more of a storytelling comic because I can't. I love honesty, and I love the honesty of stand-up comedy, and that's what I look up to in like a lot of my idols in comedy, like Maria Bamford and Patton Oswalt. So it does have a distinct lack of jokes because I feel like jokes are like knock knock, who's there, right? That's like. And I admire joke writers just as much as I admire storytellers.
Yep.
But the thing is a lot of people who think that they're writing jokes take comfort in the fact that stand-up comedy's jokes, stories isn't stand-up comedy. And it's very much a divisive thing. And so.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, because, I love both styles. Like, I don't know if I like them equally. I prefer storyteller comics over the joke kind. But that's not to say I don't love them both,
I've seen some wonderful joke writing comics, and I used to think I loved storytellers.
Yeah.
And you just watch so much stand-up comedy every day. There's some comedians, like in Edmonton especially,
Yeah.
that are just, and they come in, and I was talking a little bit earlier, like about like people that are like savants.
Yeah.
And there are some people that come in and they are comedy savants, and you couldn't even begin to try and gatekeep them.
Wow.
The day that they start comedy, you would look like such a dork if you tried to be like, this guy needs to earn his keep. Right? Like, you can come in and just completely upend the system.
Wow.
So,
Where do you put Simon King in the joke writing versus storytelling world?
oh, he is wonderful for all of those.
Right.
Is the best thing. He does voices a lot.
Yeah.
He does impressions. He does storytelling, but he also does lots of joke writing.
It's sort of
And
in
so
between this stuff. Like it's,
I would honestly call him a joke writing comedian
yeah.
because I've seen him so many times.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know what his jokes are, but he seamlessly puts them in. So if you've only seen Simon King once,
Yeah.
you would think he's a storytelling comedian.
Yeah.
But if you've seen him more than once, you know that everything that he's done is very, very calculated.
Wow.
So,
Well,
but he's so much more funny off stage, which is even like
Wow.
He's not unfunny. He's always on. He's always writing, and so his act is like next level, professional, TV level,
Yeah.
good. But then when you're just talking to him off stage, he is never not doing equally as good bits.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, okay, couple questions. Question number one is, how do you keep telling the same story in a fresh way? Does it get boring for you, or is it difficult to do the same joke with the same passion, same energy 87 times?
It is difficult to do the same joke with the same passion, same energy 87 times. This is another way that people can use it for or against you.
Yeah.
I've seen bitter comedians get mad at comedians for only doing the same jokes.
Yeah.
And I've seen bitter comedians get mad at comedians for never doing the same jokes.
Interesting.
And you can't win them all.
Yeah.
So I get in a lot of trouble because I write a lot of stories. Like, I tell a lot of stories, and if something funny happened to me that day,
Yeah.
I will blow my stage time talking about something that happened to me that day.
Right.
And it will cheese off comedians that came to the show maybe to try and test out a joke they've written.
Right. Use it as a
And-
lab, right?
Yeah, so they'll use it as a lab, and so they'll get very triggered and angry if I take their stage time and seem almost flippant with it. Kind of dichotomy, because everyone sees it as different. So someone who might maybe wanted my spot to practice would be like that, but also someone, if you tell the same joke over, they'll be like, oh, now he's just taking spots to tell the same joke over and over, and he's not
Right.
innovating.
There's no change. Yeah. There's no change.
There's no pleasing everybody,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's fair enough.
There's a lot of ways that you can mess up.
So in Vancouver, was it burnout that got you, or was it the group dynamic that got you? And how did it affect you, and how did you get back to where you are now?
It was a combination of burnout and group dynamic.
Gotcha.
And it kind of came, and so this comes to the story of how I kind of got over that, which is very important. So when I moved to Vancouver, I'd been doing stand-up comedy for 3 years. I'd kind of hit a wall where I, to this day, have still not been allowed to showcase for Yuck Yucks comedy clubs. And it's kind of getting funny at this point.
Yeah.
Because they'll like try like new people who just started like a week ago, and they'll be like, we really need comedians, come showcase, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, can I do it? I won the World Series of Comedy in Florida. Can I please do it? And they're like, no, go away. And they still try and act like it's because I'm not talented enough. And they do that very passive thing, like, well, work really hard and maybe one day we'll showcase you, right? And that works because you believe it for like the first year.
Yeah.
You believe it for the first 5 years.
Right.
But then when you start like winning some stuff, I won a competition in Chicago as well, right?
Oh, wow.
And so it's kind of funny when you start winning some stuff and they won't let you have a 5-minute spot
Wow.
to say, please see if I'm good.
Wow.
So you kind of get a little bit more self-confidence at that point and learn to stop begging is
Yeah.
the best way.
Oh, that's fun.
So
Cool.
so I already wasn't allowed in the Yuck Yucks in Calgary. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can go to a bigger city, because
Right.
I had a lot of luck in Chicago because the Calgary Arts Development actually gave me a grant to go
nice.
study improv in Chicago in 2013. And I lived
Sweet.
there. Yeah, I lived there for 3 months.
Yeah.
And I did improv from 9 to 5 every day at the IO Theater, which is the one that Delclose started.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. It was so wonderful. I can't thank Calgary Arts Development enough for that.
No kidding.
And it was my secret, sneaky plan was to get the improv grant so that I could hit Chicago's open mics every single night, because that's what I actually wanted.
Oh my God.
And there's just no grants for stand-up comedy. So shout out to Canadian Association of Stand-Up Comedians that is now forming to try and get grants for stand-up comedians.
Oh, great.
So yeah, I just kind of piggybacked a grant onto a different artistic endeavor.
But you did your thing at IO. Like that's nuts. That must have been so cool.
I learned a lot, actually. There's a lot of things that you learn about the emotions of improv.
Yeah.
And like tilts and everything like that for scene building that really lends itself into stand-up comedy, and especially the storytelling aspect of it.
Yeah, neat.
So I'd known that I was good in large stand-up scenes because Chicago, to this day, I still have comedians from Chicago like wondering what I'm up to and thinking I'm like way ahead of where I actually am. Like when they come and visit, they're like, "Oh my God, you're touring," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. Everyone hates me." So I thought it would be good to move to Vancouver, to move to a bigger scene where there would be more opportunity instead of in Calgary where there's the one club that I just wasn't allowed to go to.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity because I went to the Pemberton Music Festival.
Nice.
And they'd overbooked the camping at the Pemberton Music Festival.
Weird.
And I ended up camping inside of another band's tent. It was the only way to describe it. The band was called Good for Grapes. They're a wonderful folk band.
Yeah.
And I just ended up hanging out with them all weekend. And they just shot a music video in a house. And the members were actually just going to rent the house. And they were looking for a fifth roommate.
What year was this?
This was 2013.
Oh, okay, cool.
So... 2013 bordering on 2014.
Gotcha.
And so they were looking for a new roommate, and it was the best opportunity ever. There's a thing, and this is actually known in Vancouver, called the Vancouver Special.
Yeah. And
that is 5 artists living in an overpriced mansion on the Burnaby Beltline.
Yeah.
And it's these nice houses, these Coke palaces. And everybody who lives there is a skateboarder with 16 roommates. And it's called the Vancouver Special because you basically come with your own scene, with your own crowd, because you can come with like whatever event you're putting on, whether it's a DJ event, whether it's a concert, whether it's a comedy show, you have 5 audience members in your house at all times. And so it's so good to be an artist living in a Vancouver Special.
Wow, that's so cool.
So I lived with the guy that was pretty much, he was the lead singer, but he was also like head creative guy of this band called Good for Grapes, because he'd write out all the parts and kind of hand it out to the rest of the band almost like they were in marching band. He's like, "You guys are now a rock band. Follow my vision exactly." So he had quite a bit of vision. And then I lived with there was a video game designer from Capcom.
Wow.
And so that was really cool just to have people on that creative spectrum of video game designer is so cool, because those are people that like build escape rooms too.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's an entire scene on its own that I've never even breached, but it's crafty and it's artistic.
Yeah.
So I met a lot of those people. We lived with a cellist. Yeah, exactly. A lot of calls for like studio. For every Ruben in the Dark band, you always need to have a cellist who looks like Jesus. Like that's very important.
Seems legit, yeah.
So we lived with a cellist, and then we lived with a journalist who used to write for like lots of music review magazines. So I like to do like the podcast interviewee stuff too.
Yeah.
And it was great because every day was creative. I felt like I had an audience at all times. So I could just literally workshop jokes when I woke up in the morning.
Oh my God, amazing.
And so we were very connected because all these people came with a big group of friends and everything was very supportive.
Yeah.
And so for me, coming into the Vancouver comedy scene with the angle of the music scene, I came in a little hot because I already had friends. And so I could throw... and I had all my friends from stand-up, like all the touring comedians knew me from Calgary because I would open for them at Comedy Cave where I was allowed to do comedy and Laugh Shop where I was allowed to do comedy.
Yeah.
And I'd also toured with them to like Grand Prairie and stuff. So I had my professional headliner friends that just adored me.
Yeah.
And then I had my literal crowd.
Yeah.
And so coming into the Vancouver comedy scene being like, here's all these TV people that love me, and here is my fan base.
Yeah.
It did not it usurped a few people that maybe had less than 75 friends.
Oh, gotcha.
Is the best way to describe it.
Right.
So there were some people that felt like they were doing really good as mid-level comedians, and that everyone loved them.
Yeah.
And when I was able to throw a house party and have comedians that won Junos last year performing on my living room.
Oh my God.
And then have 75 people paying cover to come into my living room and watch this.
Jesus.
It was a little bit of a, we need to stop this
Right.
reaction.
Wow.
And I didn't understand that working, if someone had a problem with you, that was on them and not on you.
Right.
Because I had the self-esteem of a napkin the whole time I was doing this. So if someone was mad at me, it meant that I had done something terrible to them.
Yeah.
And it was my job to apologize to them.
Yeah.
And it was my job to fix things with them.
Right.
And I think the biggest problem was I got really good at fixing things. And so if someone's mad at me, the amount that I will work to make them unmad at me is like you basically get your own free Victoria slave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so how did you get out of that? Because I'm assuming that's not part of it's probably part of your genetic makeup anyways. But like, how did you thwart that? Because that maybe led to burnout,
That led to the burnout for sure. Because I was completely blind to the fact that I had 75 friends. Right. You know, I didn't care that there was 75 people that liked me. If there was one person who acted like they were better than me, if one person acted like they were better than me and that they didn't like me, I would torch all 75 of my friends.
Oh my God.
I would like to try and fix this one person, and I would ignore it. And it was very much I'm not counting the positives in my life. I would only focus on the negatives in my life. So
how did you get through that? How did you get through that?
A lot of therapy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great.
A lot of cognitive behavioral therapy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well,
what does that mean?
Spoiler alert the story to Vancouver. I'll speed it up a bit. If that makes any sense. So the problem was that I was succeeding. So I had done like 3 of my house party shows that were very popular. I moved to producing shows at the Victoria Event Center. I would take the ferry across. I had done all of the phoning to get the venue squared up, and I even got like hotel sponsorships for my acts because I had this vision where I was like, I want comedians to be paid $400 on a weeknight, free hotels.
Yep.
And I managed to pull that off twice.
Nice.
And I was so like, and we had 200 people in the crowd. I was like, I can do it. I'm doing it. I'm a professional artist.
Yeah.
But just one person would be like, no, you're not allowed on my show. And I would be like, what do you mean I'm not a professional artist?
No!
And I would completely ignore the fact that I'd done these shows.
Yeah.
And I hyper-focused on the fact that I also wasn't allowed in Yuck Yucks at Vancouver.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I would be like, but I want to be on that one. And that's the standard. And so I ignored my own success and progress. And even though I was producing shows at the Biltmore and I had a big show at the Biltmore and 100 people showed up, I was still like, they won't let me do 5 minutes at Yuck Yucks.
Wow.
And that was the only thing I could pay attention to was the fact that I wasn't good enough for 5 minutes at Yuck Yucks. And so nothing. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what led to the burnout, which was I felt like I was stuck. I felt like I couldn't do anything. And so every time I just felt like a failure because I could only pay attention to people that were bullying me, and there wasn't even that many people that were upset. Like I don't even think I have the average amount of enemies that everybody else has. Like
everybody gets 7.
Everybody gets 7 enemies, and I don't think I have more enemies than people, but I gave them so much power, and it was that's kind of what caused me to lose confidence in myself to the point where I was like, well, these people hate me. They think I shouldn't be producing these big shows. I shouldn't be producing these big shows. I am a failure. And
that's too bad.
That's kind of where it hit. And then, unfortunately, just a couple other things kind of lined up, unfortunately, financially wise in Vancouver. And so, like, my feeling was, I was like, well, if I don't have enough money to, like, support myself and 7 people hate me, everybody hates me.
Right.
And so I started getting like this paranoid delusion that like everybody hated me.
Oh, no.
And I got this paranoid delusion that everybody wanted me dead, which is how I ended up in Calgary.
Oh my God.
And in the psych ward, I actually did have to spend
oh shit
a bit. Yeah, it's funny. I put it in my stand-up comedy act. I was in the Foothills hospital for a month.
Yeah.
And I had to take like literally they didn't let me have my cell phone.
Yeah.
Because I was so paranoid that everybody wanted me dead. And it was like the full-on delusion that
God.
I didn't have my cell phone. And the funny thing was, as I couldn't go online and I couldn't see people mad at me, so people thought I was dead. Because
God.
And so my joke coming out was I said I was camping in the Foothills.
Nice.
That's my joke of where I went. And so I had to go to the Foothills had a program. It was called Hospital Day Program.
Okay.
Where basically, when you're on suicide watch, content warning, trigger content warning, suicide watch, to give you a schedule and a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
You literally have to show up to. It's almost like school.
Okay.
And so they're basically like, wake up at 9. Come to the hospital, and you're on a day pass. You have to wear the wristband and everything like that.
Wow.
And they still trust you to drive your car, and they still trust you to be a functioning adult.
Yeah.
And they say literally like, get up at 9, come to the psych ward like it's your job.
Wow.
Go home at 3.
Really?
And
now this is after your 30 days. Is it like 30-day observation sort of thing?
I was in like the lockdown sleepover part for a week.
Yeah.
No, actually, probably 4 days because they didn't have enough beds. So everyone vote for more mental health because
Right.
when I got intake, I was in the padded room for 4 days, and they're supposed to move you out of the padded room right away, but there just wasn't enough beds.
Oh my God.
So, but it was okay. I was just so burnt out that I was like, I love the padded room. The padded room's my favorite. I'm away from everybody in the padded room. So I was in the padded room for 4 days, and then I was on the sleepover at the hospital for a week.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, you're fine. You're just artistically burnt out.
Yeah.
And so then after the week, they said, we will let you out of the sleepover part if you check into, what was it again, day program, aka
gotcha.
pretend like the hospital is your job.
Cool.
And so it was really cool, the mental health aspect, because the work that they did on me was literally to do with self-esteem.
Yeah.
To the point where there's nothing like super, like I'm not diagnosed with anything other than attention deficit disorder.
Right.
And I don't even know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that diagnosis.
You're just curious.
Yeah, I took it just in case I need to sell my medication. I don't have it. It's what? Oh, am I saying stuff I'm not supposed to say on a podcast? I'm not clapping that. I'm not clapping it.
Nope, we're
No
keeping
edits.
it. We're keeping it. We're gonna do the first no edit show.
But yeah, so I don't know if I believe that diagnosis, but I do have it.
Yeah.
But I didn't get diagnosed with depression.
Okay.
And I didn't get diagnosed with anxiety, and I didn't get diagnosed with bipolar or anything that like some of my friends have walked away with.
Yeah.
They just said that I had self-esteem issues.
Yeah.
That were just the technical thing was a schema.
Oh.
And so a schema is when you believe something so hard
Yeah.
that someone else has done to you, and it's a result of bullying, and it's a result of emotional abuse.
Wow.
And so if you're just in a toxic environment,
Yeah.
that's what you can walk away with, is literally with the paranoid delusion that you basically get Truman showed.
Gotcha.
So I got Truman showed, and so they had to un-Truman show me by being like, you think everybody hates you? Let's do a real count of all the people that like you. Does Michael Dargy like you? Does all your friends like you, right? Yeah. And then I had to be like, that is correct. 75 is a bigger number than 7. And
statistically, that's a great ratio.
Yeah, exactly. Statistically, that's a great ratio. And so we had to, cognitive behavioral therapy helped me logic out the reality versus self-doubt.
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, fucking A.
But because of that delusion and the burnout from Vancouver and that feeling that I had to be successful and you only got one shot at it,
right.
And kind of like leaving with this like disgraceful thing. And trust me, I was in a very bad emotional crisis when I left, and I'm not proud of the way that I was reacting to people.
Sure.
When I thought it was a life and death matter.
Yeah.
Is the big important thing. Like I don't think I was correct in.
Right.
I wouldn't have worked with me either at the time. Is the best way to say that.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. And I think it's good to be able to put it behind you, but also still be able to look at it.
Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, here's the thing: we are all fatally flawed as humans. Like, there's not one of us on the planet that's ever gotten it all right.
Yeah.
Right? All the time.
Of course.
So I think it's really cool that you can, talk about it, rebuild yourself, because you've done some great work. And again, seeing you on stage up at Fitzsimmons last month was awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. That's kind of you to say.
Yeah, and then to know the backstory.
Yeah.
And I know just how hard that must have been to just sort of, as you say, logic your way through it.
Yeah.
But then get to the place where I've got to be on stage again. Get me up there, because that's, I don't know whether that's therapy for you or whether that's just what your release is.
It is it's definitely just who I am and what I like to do. I do like to entertain people, and comedy makes me feel good, but I'm very specific about comedy that I don't think it's therapy.
Okay, cool.
And that is a hot take. That is an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, okay.
But I have a responsibility to the audience to entertain the audience first and foremost.
Right, not work your shit out.
Yeah, exactly. You have to work your shit out, I guess. But not emotionally work your shit out. Right. So,
some people like to see other people's therapy because they can be like, project themselves into that situation. Be like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm not alone.
Yeah, I think it has a healing. I think it has a healing benefit for that.
Yeah.
And I think it has a good thing, but I think it's very much. I still stand by if you try a joke 3 times and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Don't keep it in your act.
Right. Get rid of it.
And so if you can't make something work 3 times.
Yeah.
Don't keep it in your act. And so I've boiled down, I like to talk about mental health, but I don't like talking about the nuances of oh, no, I was sad and then you're sad, because it's not, I like sharing that with people, but I'm much more like that off stage. When I'm on stage, I like to talk about silly things is very much the important thing for me. So I don't sound like as political of a person as I am on stage.
Okay.
Compared to some people that are very political, because I love mental health. I love feminism. I am a big political junkie.
Okay. So
I know that I have a platform on stage.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk about my nuances. Right. Because if someone has an opposite feeling, I don't want them to have a bad time, because they paid $10 to see me.
Right.
And $10 is a lot of dollars. And even if they're bad people or at a different point in their journey, it's not my job to say, you paid $10, it's your time to feel bad. Right. I'll obviously decry Nazis on stage. I'm not like, hey, alt-right, get on in here. But it's not my place to give my opinion on how I think people should be running their lives in such a divisive time. So I aim for unifying comedy.
What's your take on how sensitive the world is right now? Do you give a shit that the world is so sensitive, or do you how does that fall in your world?
That is such a good question, because I am a millennial. That was actually the name of my show that I was producing. It was called Goddamn Millennials. And it was such a hot take 4 years ago when I wrote it, that even the Calgary Herald wrote me and they're like, what is this? Right? Yeah. But that word has just lost meaning now. I took a screenwriting course, and literally screenwriting course, they were like, don't use the word millennial. I'm like, got it.
Worth every penny I paid.
So I think that with the way that the world is, I love social justice warriors. I love the left. I love talking to my friends that are triggered by things. And do I think that they need to chill out sometimes? Absolutely. But I love watching them go through that journey and do what they think is really good. And so I've definitely gotten in a lot of trouble from my left-wing friends who are mad at me because I said something inappropriate. And I've definitely said lots of inappropriate things. I've probably said inappropriate things on this podcast.
Perfect.
But when I see someone being sensitive, I think it's because they're trying to be a better person in some way. Oh, okay. And if they're being completely a lunatic on things where they're like, I believe a lot in false flags as well.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's something that doesn't need to be put in. So I have caught both the left and the right inventing what they think that the left and the right is.
Right.
So I have caught like that Jussie Smollett thing.
Yeah.
People staging fake hate attacks against themselves for attention. I have seen that happen.
Yeah.
And I have seen the right stage fake hate attacks against themselves for
Right.
attention because after getting out of therapy, I understand that some people can go so crazy they think they're the center of the universe.
Right.
And that they need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my opinion is I think that it's good to be socially progressive.
Yeah.
But I also think that it's very easy, and it can happen to anyone, including me, that you get so self-obsessed with your own little world that you need to go to the freaking hospital. And it will take any form of something that you're passionate about.
Yeah. Interesting.
So that's my opinion on people.
Cool.
So I can hear all sides of the thing, and
Yeah.
I have the best way is I have enough of a moral compass in myself
Yeah.
to know if they actually believe that, or like I just know the difference between right and wrong, and I know the difference between a good and bad person.
Nice.
And I won't allow myself to be gaslighted by words.
Yeah.
Is the best thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the way I like to sort of tie things up in this show is I like my guests to basically talk to the people I call the rebels in waiting.
Yeah.
These people that are, either trapped in their 9 to 5, struggling to do something different for entrepreneurial, or, and I think you're great for this, is maybe you're a struggling artist or you're somebody who like is, I don't know, I don't want to say hurting, but not confident in themselves to take that step. Maybe a step to go on stage or to take a comedy class or to whatever. What advice would you give them to sort of get over that and just do the thing that they, are supposed to be doing?
It's very important to surround yourself by the people that like you and encourage you is the thing. That's how I came back to doing stand-up comedy, because like when I was in the hospital, I think I took like a year and a half off of stand-up, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm never going to do it again. I'm never going to try and be a professional comedian again.
Yeah.
And I literally swore by that for like probably about 6 months, that I was done, and I was done with comedy as I was with marching band, as I was with acting,
Right.
because 2 people didn't want me to do it.
Yeah.
And now that I've started surrounding myself by people that want to see me succeed,
Yeah.
it has given me the strength to step back into those things. Like I've been working on writing songs with my boyfriend.
Nice.
And it's like taken all of the music stuff that kind of got taken away by one person,
Yeah.
just got given back by another person, just
Amazing.
by shifting slightly to someone who sees your artistic vision, because I understand combating artistic visions. And
Sure.
I talked a lot about doing something can piss off one comedian but make you look amazing to another person.
Right.
So you have to find the people that understand what you're good at,
Yeah.
and even if you don't think that they're cool, like I know that's such a weird thing, because I think every artist wants to do art because it's cool,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And stuff can be cool from content, and stuff can be cool from marketing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people market themselves as cool, but when you actually chat with them, they're not that cool. But a lot of stuff is kind of cool. So if you're wanting to start like comedy, or if you're wanting to like start anything like improv, comedy, any kind of scene stuff that involves that has a level of professionalism,
Yeah.
there is someone who is a professional that will take the time to get you to where you need to be.
Right on.
And so don't focus on someone that is gatekeeping is the best way.
Yeah. Cool.
So someone who's like, you're not an artist because I'm an artist. Look for the person who's like, I will teach you how to do this.
Yeah.
I like to think that I'm pretty open as a stand-up comedian. I can get a little cranky with aspiring comedians that don't take the art form seriously.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. A lot of people think that stand-up is going to solve a problem that stand-up can't solve for them. So I can get a little cranky if someone gets up on stage and starts spouting their political opinions, and it's
Right.
like, oh, you clearly wanted to be a politician. Or I can get a little cranky if someone gets on stage and they clearly are just like auditioning for a TV show.
Right.
And so, but if you understand the art form of stand-up and you want to be a stand-up, I recognize that right away.
Yeah.
And I'm the person that like is immediately like, I'm gonna find you stage time, I'm gonna get that.
Yeah.
So it's look out for people like that.
Nice. So last question, or maybe not even a question. Talk to me about, it sounds to me like you're talking about tribe.
Find your tribe is
Yeah.
very important.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a fun one. And I guess you can also like reverse engineer your tribe too into bridging stuff together. I like bridging stuff together a lot. So I hang out with music scene people a lot from when I was living with them in Vancouver, and I spent a lot of time getting music fans involved in local stand-up comedy shows.
Nice.
And I do that on April 10th. I actually have a team up variety show because there's a thrift store that I really like downtown. It's called Thrift Couture. I'm advertising for it on your podcast.
Right on.
It's on 17th Ave.
Do they have a website?
They probably have a website.
With Thrift Couture, we'll find it.
We'll find a Thrift Couture. And every time I went in there, the two ladies working there were just so stoked and so friendly and so happy that I was like, I could probably just put a show in your store. And I literally said, can I put a show in your store? And they were like, yes.
Nice.
There was not even like a question about it. I didn't have to come up with a business proposal or anything like that. And so this is going to be one of the first shows that I've produced since I went to the hospital.
Nice.
So it's kind of nice to kind of get back to that. And they were stoked. And I was like, I am only going to put people that are kind to me on this show. And so I've broken it up between a couple members of the drag community and a couple members of the comedy community, a couple members of the music community.
Nice.
And there's no stress about the show because I'm not proving anything to anybody about the show. It's already selling. It's half sold out, pre-sales.
Sweet.
So it's just a good thing to look for people that are kind.
Love it.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Victoria, this has been freaking amazing.
Yay!
Yeah. I've had a great time. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me on the show.
And wear your mouse and cheese socks.
I will wear the mouse and cheese socks. I don't even think I have matching socks on now. Like, this one's clearly cleaner than the other.
Right?
So.
You are built for purposefully mismatched socks. Anyway, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to check out patreon.com/rebelrebelpod and consider supporting this podcast so we can continue to grow and bring on even more amazing guests. Speaking of amazing guests, in the next episode, Patrick Lord comes in to talk about his crazy rebel entrepreneur journey from iStock photo to panache. Until next time.